Okay, so, like, where was I? Denouncing straight people? Probably. Okay, okay. Right. Chase, again, who the fuck is Chase? Still don't know. Okay, so Chase and Derek are, like, these guys. Derek is convinced that he's in love with JoJo, and Chase is wallpaper. But, like, shitty wallpaper, right? Okay, so, like, okay. Hold on, Amanda Braga keeps texting me. Oh, okay, so she gets rid of Derek. And I think that this is really interesting. Is this even the same time? I don't even know. Like, oh, no. Okay, so this is actually, okay, whatever. We'll get to this later. Okay, so, like, she picks Chase, right? And Derek is, like, devastated. And actually, this is another one of those times when The Bachelor, like, destroys me. Because I'm just kind of like, oh, man, emotions. Like, I don't think Derek is a real person. I think he's mostly a robot. I think he is a poor man's Jim Halpert. But, I mean, he was crying. Been there, buddy. So I felt bad about that. Especially because he was so convinced, right? He was so convinced that JoJo was going to pick him. And he lost out to Chase. If he had lost to anyone else, maybe it wouldn't have been so horrible, but he lost out to Chase. God damn. Okay, so, but going back. Oh, no, shit. Okay, so there was one point where Derek, when he gets JoJo alone before she goes alone with Chase, he's like, did you feel it? I felt the passion as soon as we started dancing. And JoJo says, like, with no emotion in her voice whatsoever, and this should have really, like, told Derek something. Yes, we did. Thank you for all that. It was beautiful. You know, it's like one of those more underrated moments, I think, of reality TV. And I think this season, I feel like with JoJo is really giving me that. I feel like it's really serving up just, like, absolute, like, kind of just dangerously good reality TV. But it's like, you know, it's like a shade underneath. Like that Hitler-Mussolini conversation, you know, from a few weeks back, or the time that Chad was eating that sweet potato. Actually, that was the same scene. That scene is gonna be my all-time favorite scene of anything. I just love JoJo's reaction. Yes, we did. Thank you for that. And so, like, but that sums up Derek and his passion. So that's interesting. Oh, and by the way, have you noticed that JoJo, like, really, really loves to rock the red in Argentina? Like, I think she fancies herself a Vita, especially because, so, like, after she chooses Chase, this is another moment, like, the editors are having such a good time with this. So, Derek's crying in the car. Derek is crying in the car, and then Chase and JoJo go and listen to an Argentine. Is it Argentinian or Argentine? What do I decide? Argentine. I'm gonna say Argentine. An Argentine woman is singing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," which I feel like, okay, I don't know much about that, but weren't the Perones, like, awful human beings? And so, in a way, if this woman is singing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" about Evita, in which I think, I mean, I've never seen it, but I assume that Evita comes out as, like, you know, is like the hero of the story, whatever that means. Does that mean that she's, like, in favor of the dictatorship? Or is that not her? Is that right before? I don't understand. It had a lot of, I felt, political implications. But anyway, so it's like, they're dancing and making out, and Luke's, like, kissing her neck, and he's like, in the most monotone voice ever, "JoJo, there's no one more happy than me right now." And she's like, "Oh my god, I really think you would mean that. Thank you for emoting to me vocally." And Derek is in the car crying. It was beautiful. The editors, good God, the editors this season have really given us a show. Okay, so, like, but back to it was really awkward during the group date because Derek, why am I keep talking about Derek? Ugh. Derek, no, I keep saying Derek. Okay, so, like, James Taylor is apparently good friends with Jordan in the house, but he also is threatened by Jordan, and Jordan's, like, the fucking worst, right? But James Taylor told JoJo that Derek was entitled. And he goes on and on about how much Jordan is like horrible. And then immediately afterward, he's like, "Can I kiss you right now? Cause you're so pretty." And I'm like, tone it down, fucking like Sam Houston and Davy Crockett rolled into one, without all of the Alamo shit. Like, what do you? And then he's like, he thinks that their connection is super real. Like, he's like, "Oh my god, like, I'm so happy with my interaction with JoJo." You spent all of it bitching about Jordan, and then you made out with her for like 5 seconds, and she let that happen. Like, come on, JoJo, like, you've been hurt, but up your standards, man. Like, what the fuck was all of that about? But I think it's interesting because Jordan gets really offended when she totally narcs on James Taylor about how he's entitled, how James Taylor said that he was entitled, and Jordan's like really, really super offended by that, and he's like, no one would ever call me that, like, no one would ever call me that, right? Like, and I'm like, you're a fucking straight white professional football player. There is not 1 cent of me, cent abbreviated of percent, that believes for even a fucking second that he's not entitled. And the fact that he would even insinuate otherwise just offends me to my core. And then he got all weird and awkward about it, but, you know, whatever. Oh, and I thought it was really interesting. This is a language thing. I thought it was really interesting that JoJo said that James Taylor would make for a good life partner, but did not use the word husband. In the straight world, what does that mean? We'll ruminate about this, right? And we'll bring it into next week. Oh, and by the way, Jordan's entitlement occurred during a poker game. Like, I can't even fucking deal with either of them. Like, fuck them. Oh, and have you ever noticed the way that Jordan's mouth, like, moves when he talks? Ugh, I can't even do it. It's kind of like, it's almost like he's being dubbed in a movie, right? He's in one of those samurai movies from Japan, or like the Star Wars pilots who were all British but were dubbed with American accented people, aka Americans. They're not quite in sync. I can't stand the way he talks, and he wears those Converse, and he just looks like an asshole. Ugh, gross. Okay, first of all, also, it came down to Alex, who I thought was gonna go home because, like, he has had no impact at all this episode. But she picked both of them, but James Taylor thinks that, Alex is going home, and he's like, the hay is in the barn, and that's exactly what Alex said to Chad on their 2-on-1 date. The hay is in the barn. This is not an expression I've ever heard before, but has now been used on The Bachelorette twice. I won't do any more obscene gestures. So that's kind of weird. And I think I'm really interested in this idea just in general about this idea of being unsure. Like, JoJo is kind of like, I'm unsure about, like, Wells, for example, and I think she's unsure about other people. She's just unsure. And I think, like, I feel like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette does not allow you to have those feelings. But in real life, when you think about it, like, what does being sure mean? Like, being sure doesn't really mean anything. I feel like I would rather be unsure about someone but see it through, to kind of see it, but like, there's a big difference between being unsure and being sure that that person is not for you. And I think that there's something to be said about an unsureness, because I think that means that you're rocking in your foundations a little bit. You're grappling with what this person is bringing into your life. Maybe it's a little uncomfortable, and I don't think that that's a negative thing. And so I think that JoJo should really, like, because inevitably, whether she picks somebody in this season or not, they won't end up together, because they never do. I hope in her real life she embraces more this unsurety. I think that that's what's powerful about human interaction. I'd rather be unsure about you than be sure that you are not for me. Deep thoughts. Deep thoughts from an addled mind. I think that that's it for now. This has been a really, really long edition. What the fuck? These are like expanding and expanding, but thank God we don't have that many more episodes. But maybe I'll do Bachelor in Paradise. Oh my God, I tried watching that last year and it was... even I could not stomach it. So that's it. I don't know, dude. Like, You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna watch. Okay, so like yesterday, I downloaded as a rental on Amazon Prime, Imagine Me and You, which is a classic lesbian film, starring Piper Perabo as Rachel, the straight girl who gets married, who falls in love with Jules, the lesbian, played by Lena Headey, and it brings up a lot of things for me. But it's so good, and I think I'm gonna rewatch it again because it has a happy ending. And you know, after the night I had, and after watching The Bachelorette and recapping it again, I think I need that. So just say no to heteronormativity and straight men, and yes to Piper Perabo. That's all I got.